Right now on Upfront.
No deal in sight.
Well, everybody has the right to their own opinion.
Time running out. Republicans and the governor racing to reach a compromise on property tax relief. But is everyone on board?
Since then, I have not been part of the negotiations, so I have no idea what's going on.
The Senate's top Republican saying he's being left out and now proposing a bill of his own. This Sunday, our new interview with Senate Majority Leader Devin LeMahieu.
So who should voters blame if there's no property tax relief?
And the instant reaction ahead of a busy week in Madison.
Growing contention.
I don't think that all the other city officials are acting in the same good faith.
A lawsuit targeting the city of Madison moving forward, the city failing to count nearly 200 absentee ballots. And now one of those voters is suing.
Position taken by others in leadership in Madison that appears to find such things annoying.
The mayor defiant, igniting a firestorm of criticism over absentee voting.
None of that is true.
With us this Sunday, Madison Mayor Satya Rhodes Conway and Scott Thompson, the attorney representing the voter. It's all just moments away.
This is Upfront with Jaron Jordan and political director Matt Smith.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. It's sure going to be a dramatic finish at the state capitol as the legislative session comes to the end. This weekend, the infighting surrounding tax relief.
And already instant reaction and fallout from our new interview with Senate Majority Leader Devin LeMahieu. The assembly set to be done this week. Governor Tony Evers delivering his State of the State Tuesday, and the race for any potential compromise on property tax relief dipping into the projected $2.5 billion surplus, negotiations between Republicans and the governor.
Then just days ago, the surprise proposal from Senate Republicans, a rebate check, $1,000 for married couples, $500 for individuals. All this unfolding as we sat down with the Senate's top Republican on Thursday.
Let's start broadly talking about property taxes. I'm a little confused, so help me understand where negotiations stand. Are you talking with the Assembly and Governor about some property tax compromise?
So last week, we had a Zoom with Governor and the Speaker, and I made my pitch on where I thought my caucus was. The Speaker made his pitch of where he was, and the Governor made their pitch of where they were. And it seemed like we were all talking past each other. And then earlier this week, when someone leaked the email response from the governor's office, which was not accurate, and called it a compromise, which there was no compromise. Essentially, it was just a watered-down version of what the governor wanted. And since then, I have not been part of the negotiation, so I have no idea what's going on. It's unfortunate, but if the Speaker and the governor really want to get something done and not just score political points or pressure the Senate into whatever they want to do, maybe they should include one house that needs to be part of the process.
Do you think you're purposely being left out at this point?
I have no idea.
In the governor's email that was sent to you, it seemed like he was open to changes to the 400-year veto. Was that your takeaway from the conversation?
No, that was a red line right away from the governor's staff.
That it stayed?
The governor, yeah. Well, the proposal that they had to eliminate the 400-year veto actually made it worse because it was ongoing increasing, but it was just funding those increases forever.
Yeah. So it seemed like Speaker Vos was somewhat open to a deal that left the 400-year veto in place. Is there any scenario that would pass the Senate?
No.
So it doesn't seem like we're going anywhere at this point, very far.
I'm always willing to talk and see if we can find a compromise, but just putting a Band-Aid and not eliminating the cause of the problem, the 400-year veto, I don't know why we would do that unless we're just trying to score immediate political points.
Let's talk about your proposal you put out. Is it in response to these negotiations, the rebate proposal? Walk me through how that came about.
So knowing that I was potentially going to try and negotiate a deal with the governor and the Speaker, we caucused a couple different times and we threw out some different ideas and ways that we could do things to either a combination of a rebate and throwing it into the whatever to help alleviate some of the pressure on property taxes. But it was pretty clear as we discussed it with our caucus that we needed to get rid of the 400-year veto or something meaningful to help going down the road. That's how negotiations work. When the governor draws a line in the sand saying, I'm not going to eliminate the 400-year veto, and that's what we need, we're willing to give up something to get that, but we need to fix the actual problems.
Does this rebate check proposal replace essentially in any conversations about a larger property tax compromise?
I think it frees us up to address it next year when we come back into session. It's not tying us to whatever solution we come up with ongoing money that, like I said, hamstrings the next JFC committee and puts huge amounts of pressure on them because of putting an ongoing expense in right now.
Have you talked with the Assembly or the Governor's office about this idea yet?
I pitched doing part of it as a rebate in our original meeting, and that no one seemed to think that was a good idea on that Zoom.
What if nothing gets accomplished on either the rebate or any property tax compromise and all this money just sits there and people's property taxes continue to go up?
That's the dilemma that was given to us by the governor last session when for the next 400 years, we're going to see property taxes go up. We did override the veto the previous session. Now we have a bill to eliminate it going forward, and now we're willing to negotiate with the governor, maybe give him some of what he wants to eliminate it, but that's where we're at.
You've been behind the scenes negotiating large compromises or packages before. What are the odds something actually does get done before the end of the session?
It seems unlikely with the speaker saying that he's going to adjourn next week, Thursday. That only leaves us 5 days now, five days left to figure this out, or 4 days. So that seems highly unlikely, especially without a bill out there to reduce property taxes. So unless the plan is to attach it to some other bill, and the Finance Committee would have to meet. So there's a lot of things that have to happen in a short amount of time.
So who should voters blame if there's no property tax relief?
Well, the irony is, since introducing the bill yesterday, I've had quite a few members of the Assembly Republican caucus reach out to me and either want to be the number one on the bill, support the bill, think it's the cleanest path forward. So it'll be interesting to see how the next 4 or 5 days go.
All right, now almost immediately after posting a clip of that interview, both Assembly Speaker Robin Vos and a spokesperson for the governor responding.
Well, everybody has the right to their own opinion. Senator LeMahieu is always welcome. We had a discussion 10 days ago with the governor where we actually started talking about this. Earlier this morning, I sent a text to the Senator LeMahieu saying we need to sit down and figure this out. So hopefully we'll be able to do that. We've had members today saying they want to do a joint caucus where the Republicans all get together and say, okay, we're all united and wanting to give it back, like Gwen said. We know we want to get it in the same place. We shouldn't be arguing with each other. So God willing, we'll do that today.
A spokesperson for Governor Evers adding, quote, actually, yesterday our office suggested that Republican leaders should try talking to each other since they're clearly not on the same page, end quote. All right, up next, a contentious lawsuit in Madison, the absentee ballots uncounted. The mayor and the attorney representing the voters suing are both with us next.